Hey friends, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, back again with another video, and today I'm excited to share with you the flip through of the bullet journal that I just completed. This is the bullet journal I used from January through June 2021, and it's always a good time to go back and look through all the spreads once I'm finished using them. I know y'all like to see this as well, a little peek behind the curtain. Today's video is sponsored by Harry's. I'll talk about them a little later in the video, but for now, let's just start flipping through some of these spreads. I still really love the general vibe of this bullet journal setup. These initial spreads that I created, there's something so warm and cozy about them. And even though there's definitely a distinct theme that translates across all of these spreads, I feel like they're still neutral enough that it's not overwhelming. And I definitely didn't get sick of them over the 6 months that I was using this bullet journal, which is great. I was pretty good about filling in these spreads neatly this time around, which is not always the case, but it's always satisfying when that happens so that when I flip through later, everything is just nice and orderly. But if your spreads end up super messy, that's totally fine too. You will see that many of my spreads, specifically my weekly spreads, turn out super messy. So moving into my January spreads, and this was my sort of sunrise on the new year theme, very different for me, very different colors than I usually use, totally out of my comfort zone. I'm still really happy with how the couple paintings I did in this setup turned out. They were, again, totally out of my comfort zone, but especially the painting at the end of the spread there with the sky and the clouds there, the 3 different panes. I really like how that turned out. Now moving into February, which was my minimalist line art hands and flowers spread, which was just supposed to be sort of vaguely Valentine's Day-esque. And I really like this one too. I love craft paper. I like the soft, natural quality of it and the way that it adds the tiniest bit of texture and color and interest to an otherwise very minimalist, simple black and white setup. Before we get to March, I want to take a second to talk to you about today's video's sponsor, Harry's. My husband and I have both been using Harry's for many years now, and we love the combination of that close, comfortable shave you get from a high-quality blade, as well as the affordable price. My husband's the kind of guy who gets a 5 o'clock shadow by noon, so a good razor is essential. Some people might think that Harry's is just a men's brand, but they don't just make razors for men. Harry's are passionate about providing fair price razors for everyone. No pink tax, no outrageous price tags, just premium quality at an extremely affordable price. Harry's support great causes as they give 1% of their global sales to nonprofit organizations that provide mental health care to veterans and LGBTQIA+ youth in need. My favorite thing about Harry's is the German-engineered blades. Harry's own their own factory in Germany, so they can ensure high-quality products at factory direct prices. And they stand behind their blades so much that they have a 100% money-back guarantee. I'm also very partial to the handle, which is rubberized and has a little bit of a texture. It's super comfortable to hold in the hand. It has a little bit of weight, so it feels expensive, but it's also really easy to keep a hold on if you're shaving in the shower. Just 10 out of 10. Redeem your trial set for just $3 when you go to harrys.com/plantbasedbride. In your trial set, you'll get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, a blade cover, and their foaming shave gel. It's an incredibly great deal, so act fast while supplies last. Thank you so much to Harry's for sponsoring this video. And now, back to the flip through. Getting into March here, and this, I think, is the setup that takes the cake. Holds the world record, okay, just my own personal record, for the longest it has ever taken me to do a monthly setup. I ended up with over 15 hours of footage from this plan with me that I edited down to about 20 minutes, but I feel like all of those hours were well spent because I absolutely adore this Greek goddess theme. And I actually created one more spread in a live stream with my patrons that I didn't quite finish. As you can see, I totally forgot to go back in and finish the last little details. This was a quote from the book Circe by Madeline Miller, and Circe was a lesser Greek goddess known as the first witch, and I loved that book and really enjoyed the character of Circe, so it was fun to create a spread inspired by her. Moving into April, which is the polar opposite to March, I really needed something simple after such an intricate month, and I really enjoyed this minimalist abstract rain-inspired theme. The color scheme was different for me. I'm not normally a big blue person in general, but I really like this color palette of colors that I sort of hand mixed, and I feel like it very much has that calm vibe that I was going for. Moving into May with my daisy theme. This one's a favorite. I really love how this one turned out, especially with the craft paper. I guess I'm learning that I love craft paper with pretty much any theme. This is how the stress tracker turned out. I did end up deciding to do petals instead of just lines. That was a debate when I first did my setup. And even though it's a little harder to read the tracker this way, I just felt it fit the theme a lot better. And I actually really like how it turned out and how it looks just as a piece of art. And it's really cool that the petal length is determined by how stressed I was, though it's kind of sad that for the flower to be as big as it is, it means that I was very stressed. Moving into June, the last month that I used this bullet journal, and this was my theme inspired by Pride, celebrating Pride, since I was unable to attend any Pride celebrations this year. A very personal and meaningful theme, and I was really happy with how this turned out. Again, not necessarily very me as far as rainbows and very bright colors, so I did try to mix my own shades that were a little darker, a little less saturated than you typically see in a rainbow, just to make it feel a little more me and a little more grounded. And that brings us to the end of this bullet journal. I have about 4 extra pages at the back and some post-its stuck in the back, some affirmations that I did as part of a Skillshare course, and some of my leftover video tabs from my Kanban board that I just moved to the back when I was done with them. It's not one of my bullet journals if there isn't a little bit of a post-it graveyard at the back. So that is the whole flip through. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the spreads filled in. I've linked some videos down below that might be of interest to you, including my new bullet journal setup for the bullet journal I'll be using through the end of 2021, my video explaining my rolling weekly if you're interested in the specific weekly spread that I used through this whole bullet journal, and more. So check out the description box if you're looking for a video to watch next. Thank you again to Harry's for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description box to get your trial set for just $3. Thank you to my patrons for their support. Extra special thanks to our newest patrons, Stephanie, Erin, Mel, Elizabeth, Olivia Reads a Latte, Jess, Juliana, Elin, Alana, Courtney, Sarah, Rowan, Milla, Chelsea, Brecken, Audrey, Mary, Emily, Nicole, Rosalie, and Sarah. Welcome all of you to the squad. We are so excited to have you. If you at home want to join the squad, feel free. There's a link in the card and in the description box down below. And with that, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends. P.S. I just launched my exclusive limited edition collaboration with Archer and Olive. I designed a couple notebooks, a couple acrylographs. So if you want to check out the collaboration and pick something out before it's gone, check out the link in the description box. I'll have a link to the video where I show all of the items and talk about the inspiration and all of that. And I'll also have a link to the Archer and Olive website so you can shop if you so wish.